So Sadiq Khan has been knighted. When you're knighted, there's always a reason given. It's normally for services to sport, for services to some particular highfalutin, well-meaning cultural or societal benefit. And having lived in London throughout his tenure as mayor, I'm at a loss what he's done to improve it. More pictures of himself, more stabbings. The news of his knighthood leaked just after he lit the pathetic Christmas tree last year. Oh, nothing like those Eid lights, they were really good. But what has he done? Services to politics. I can't say I'm very impressed with services to politics. On both sides, it generally means being a crony. You gave money to the right person or paid for the right business trip or drank in the right pub as some politician, and somehow you get a knighthood. It demeans the entire process of knighthoods. When I see someone like David Beckham get it, or when I see a sportsman who won an Olympic medal, a performer who's toured the world, presenting Britain in a great light, then I'm more than happy for them to get a little gong. I knew someone who got a gong, and I can tell you he wasn't a very nice person. He was just very proficient at climbing greasy poles and showing off about it. Well, what has Sadiq done? Sadiq tells us that we have to decriminalise cannabis in London because it is victimising people of colour. And I find this bizarre, and at the same time, it encapsulates what's been wrong with Sadiq Khan as a mayor. So he runs the police. He runs the police force which decides who to prosecute. They do what he say, pretty much. And then they don't stop people for smoking cannabis. I can see people smoking cannabis on any street in the suburbs of London. If I go to a park, on a train station. Yesterday, my friend's child got home and had to step over someone to get through their front door because they were smoking cannabis and had passed out in front of their block of flats. This is London of today. This is Sadiq's London. So, the police aren't enforcing any laws on cannabis. And then he speaks with great ponderousness of how they shouldn't enforce them, but are. A man who's out of step. A man who's done nothing to benefit London other than put his picture on as many posters as possible. I'm sure someone's benefited from being mayor, but I don't know who they are. And I look at the previous mayors. Now, in fairness, Boris Johnson will get a knighthood at some point, because ex-prime ministers always get one. There's been a bit of a backlog because we had to wait until we forgot that Tony Blair started a murderous war on purpose, and then had some rather dubious business dealings abroad with dictators, advising them on how to spin rather brutal actions. But now we've got Tony out of the way, all the others are going to line up and get their gong, so Boris will get one eventually. Perhaps they're waiting to see if the Tories take him back, which I think is the biggest joke of the year. The idea that the Conservative Party would take him back suggests either insanity by the Tory party or a complete lack of understanding of the Tory party themselves by the media. And Kem was offered, but he turned it down. He doesn't approve. And when I look at those previous mayors, I was in London when Ken Livingstone took the tube to work. I was in London and saw Boris cycling to work with his big quiff of shock of blonde hair, he was instantly recognisable. But there's no chance of seeing Sadiq going to work like normal people, because he travels in an armoured cavalcade like a president of a country. President of a rather grubby dictatorship, really, driving around like that in multiple armoured vehicles is ridiculous. That's the man of the people that's being honoured with a knighthood. So, I note when I read the Standards off piece about how great he is and how it will elevate London that our wonderful mayor has a knighthood because other people in the world will really care about that. All I'm left thinking is you wrote a puff piece in favour of him, saying how great it was that he had been knighted, yet you couldn't think what he'd done for Londoners. He's been elected to help Londoners. Maybe he should have helped us before he got a big fat gong. Or perhaps with Starmer's miserable performance, they want to replace one Sir with another. I can't see them wanting to let a woman run the Labour Party. Never happened through a vote yet. So good luck, Angela.